What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel. And this is a last-minute upload. I recorded a Jim Harbaugh LA Chargers rebuild. Get up at 9 in the morning. 4 o'clock right now. Like, perfect. Like, full day. Got it recorded. Audio was incorrupt the entire thing. Had to scrap the entire video. Got a deadline to make for a sponsor. So this is a video that I was getting ready to make this weekend. And we're just going to push it up to Friday, and I'm going to hope to get this rebuild out in the weekend. The only thing that might suck is for me to get this rebuild out, I'm not going to be able to get the Honey Hunters episode that I wanted to get out this week. It's literally just one of those, like, great start to the weekend, right? Whole video, hour 15, no audio. So we're going to be doing today a first ever for this offseason Philadelphia Eagles mock draft. We're starting to get a little bit of clarity for the Philadelphia Eagles as it relates to our staff, right? We're getting Vic Fangio on the defensive side of the ball. That's going to alter how we want to handle the mock draft. We know offensively, they're going to look to innovate a little bit more. It's not going to be the same style offense. I think we're going to be looking for a running back. I think we're going to be looking for a new slot wide receiver, potentially. I don't know. Maybe we could bring back Zacchaeus. But honestly, fellas, we had to get a quick little video out here today. And why not a nice little Philadelphia Eagles specific mock draft? We've done full first round mock drafts, but for all the Eagles fans out there, let's try and have something that would make a tear come to Howie Roastman's eye. But before we get into the first round, I got to give a quick shout out to today's video sponsor. 4 teams, 1 goal to make it to Las Vegas in just a few short weeks. With all eyes on the prize, I've teamed up with DraftKings, an official partner of the NFL, to get you in on the action. Right now, new customers who bet just $5 will get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Yes, instantly. Download the DraftKings app now and sign up using my promo code C4 for your shot at the crown. Wondering what you could use your $200 in bonus bets on? Combine multiple bets together from the same game for a shot at an even bigger payout. If you're already signed up for DraftKings, you can get a no-sweat bet. Get a bonus bet back if your same-game parlay or same-game parlay X-bet doesn't hit with max reward limits applying. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the action with DraftKings Daily Fantasy and have the chance to win cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use my promo code C4 and bet just $5 on any wager and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code C4 only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. All right, let's go. There are going to be trades on. I do not plan on trading up. I don't think Philadelphia, let's get dark mode on here so I don't nuke my eyeballs. I don't think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to necessarily trade up. I do think they could potentially trade down, but I mean, that's not brutal value. Move down a couple spots. However, with this trade offer, I'm not trading with the Niners. That's actually not a brutal trade offer. Get a 2, get a 4, get a 7. However, that guy that's right there available, I've talked about that on Twitter. I truly think there could be a scenario that Brock Bowers is still on the board at pick 22. I don't think it's likely. I already think I'm livid that Cooper DeJean went off the board to the Miami Dolphins. That would be probably my dream pick right now for the Philadelphia Eagles. But I think Philadelphia needs, and I don't want to reject this offer right away just because this might be the best offer for Philadelphia, but I think, looking at the board right now, where do we know Philadelphia in terms of priority, right? Safety is weird because I think you got Sidney Brown, tough injury, but I think you look at Sidney Brown. I think you look at, if Avonte Maddox makes the roster, maybe you look at moving him full-time to safety. I think you look at corner, like just generally DB. I think we could definitely use another safety. Kevin Byard likely will be released this offseason. We'll get some cap relief there. Wasn't overly impressed. But hey, Vic Fangio could say, I can use Byard. We can get more value. So, I mean, safety's weird, but I do think, generally speaking, safety is a legit option for the Philadelphia Eagles. Corner, getting younger at corner. I think we see some optimism with Keely Ringo to develop into something. I think Eli Ricks, you can't hit him off. I think Isaiah Rodgers is going to be a massive addition for the Philadelphia Eagles. So fast. This is a defense that needs to get a lot faster. Quinion Mitchell, however, is a hell of a prospect. Yeah, Toledo, but elite PFF grade, should test very, very well. Made Bruce Feldman's freaks list, so he's a dog in that department. And I'm personally not a huge fan of the depth, the later round corners, but I do think Philly at corner that could be where we spend in free agency. You got L'Jarius Sneed, I think would be a great fit for this defense. You got Jalen Johnson if the Bears let him go. I think if Philly's going to spend big in free agency, it would be corner again because we messed up James Bradbury. You got to get James Bradbury out the books. I think I saw something where post-June cut, it's only a $4 million cap hit. Unless somehow, some way, Vic Fangio can be like, I'm going to fix this guy, or I'm gonna move him around, I'm going to play him in the slot, I'm going to move him to safety. I believe that's where he played in college. I believe James Bradbury was originally a safety in college. But the corner room, again, I think if the player's there, sure, but it's just not a position Philadelphia will spend first-round high draft capital on, right? I think last year could be interesting. I love Saintsville from Michigan, but I mean, if one thing Philly has, good corner depth at, it would be nickel. So then you have your typical Howie Roseman picks, building through the edge. Latu, if still's on the board, could be interesting. Braylon Trice could be interesting. Braswell should test well. You have D. Lyman, Byron Murphy, Dog. I would honestly think, though, I just want to see the D-line that we have right now get snaps, get more reps. I want to see more Milton Williams, especially when we move to a 3-4. Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter. That's our three. And if that's our three, that's a three that you could build around for the next 5, 6, 7 years. So I don't think we should be investing a first-round pick for depth at that spot. Yes, you can invest second, third-round pick, fourth-round pick, depending on the board falls, but I don't think you go again on the defensive line, even though Byron Murphy is a dog, even though Chris Jenkins is a dog, even though Tavondre Sweat could give us a nice backup at nose tackle. I think Howie Roseman needs to resist the urge of building through the trenches this year. Maybe tackle, Lane Johnson. Our team looks terrible when he goes down to injury. Don't have that clear-cut tackle replacement. Tyler Guyton, I've seen him mocked. Sua Matiaya, whatever. Ridiculous athlete, was on Bruce Feldman's freak list. That would be a guy I'd love to see go to Jeff Stoutland University. But there's always just this thing. As long as Jeff Stoutland's on the staff, you get a value tackle, especially one that you want to grow and develop behind Lane, because he's not going to play over Lane. Get someone a little bit later that Jeff Stoutland's like, I'm going to mold that guy. Get your, not necessarily a Mailata, because Mailata's like a lottery pick, once in a generation type find, because he was a rugby player that we converted. But something like a Mailata. Get a little project there for Stoutland, not necessarily have to invest in a big-time tackle. I think of a Marius Mims from Georgia is available. That would be a guy that maybe I would consider in the first round. And it could still happen. It's Howie Roseman. But we're going to come back to the pick I'm going to make here. Now, we're going to have a little bit of fun. It's a mock draft. But I truly do think, just because of Kyle Pitts, and teams are going to be scared of Kyle Pitts, the history of where he went, how it's kind of worked out. Is it Atlanta? Is it Kyle Pitts? Do we really want to value the tight end spot there? That mixed with the success of the tight ends this year. They got these later round tight ends. Obviously, Kincaid was great, but some of these later round tight ends, second, third, fourth round, Docs produce outstandingly. You get your Isaiah Likely's, these mid-round finds. Maybe the premium on tight ends is just not going to be there. Tight ends and safeties that are always elite college players that people scream to the heavens are not going to fall every single year. So I'm going to take advantage of this mock draft roll, and we're going to get Brock Bowers. Now, here's why we're going to get Brock Bowers. This is the same age that Philadelphia spent a second-round pick, which is still a premier position. They value the tight end spot. That's the same time that we got Dallas Goedert when we had Zach Ertz. So it's just history repeating itself a little bit. Brock Bowers, dog. Literally, a bulldog, what we like to draft. Would be able to be big slot wide receiver. That's the thing, too, with Brock Bowers. He's so unique for the Philadelphia Eagles. Not only is he going to be depth behind Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert, I don't want to say he's injury prone because his injuries have been kind of freaky. Like literally it's just he gets tackled weird and his arm gets smashed. It's not like tissue injuries, not like lingering knee issues or anything like that for him. So I don't want to say he's an injury prone player, but he does miss time. So if that happens, you have a backup tight end that's more than capable. But I think Brock Bowers, big slot. He would play in the slot. He would start in the slot for us. So you kind of get 2 for 1 there with getting a Brock Bowers because he is so dominant of a receiver. He's got a block, which we need our wide receivers to block because we run the ball with Jalen Hurts and all that stuff. I think Brock Bowers would be an absolute wild card pick for the Philadelphia Eagles, but I could totally see it happening. And based off of Howie Roseman's history, he will value and he will go out and pay a big-time premium in the draft for a tight end. And I just think he's more of a tight end. You just view him as a strict receiver. He'll be our 4th receiving target next year with obviously a role an opportunity to grow into that a little bit more because he's an absolute dog. So now we're on the clock here at pick 50. We have 50 and 53. And I think running back is a position Philadelphia should be interested in because, let's be honest, as much as we all want DeAndre Swift to get re-signed, is it going to happen? I don't know. The only running back under contract right now next year is Kenny Gainwell, who I like Gainwell. I think he's a good part of a rotation, but he's not that dog. But we got value here. Corum, Brooks, Benson, Allen, Shipley down here. Like, those are all running backs I'd be fine Philly taking. I think 50, 53, I'd rather wait till about 97 just to see if there's one of those RBs still there. Like, if Trey Benson's there at 97, Braylon Allen, 97, I think that's when you jump over and grab a running back. I would love to see maybe a little bit better tackles here. I think this could be where you get your Lane Johnson successor if they're still on the board. Don't love the available tackles. Haven't done a big deep dive on some of the later round. I know Javon Foster's graded out well, PFF, SEC, offensive tackle. On the interior line, you got a center here in Powers Johnson, who's a big-time center. That could be Beebe has played tackle, but most people project he's going to kick inside. With Powers Johnson, if the idea is Juergens is going to play at right guard and Kelsey's going to retire, there's your guy. You know, it's all about how Philadelphia. We might come back to that because if they think and like Juergens at guard, which they might, that could be kind of where you stick there. All right, what are we looking at? We got some dogs here at safety. I would say, obviously the Georgia Bulldog there. I would say at this pick at 50, I would go Cameron Kitchens, and then we're gonna see what linebackers here at 53. Hopefully they're still there. Now, Cam Kitchens, I watched two Miami. He had a bad injury. Like I don't think it was a concussion, man. It was pretty gnarly, but he is a very, very fun safety. Like everything I think Philly would want in a safety, Kitchens can come in and bring it. So you got Sidney Brown, you got Reed Blankenship. I don't know if I mentioned him at the top, but like those two guys are interesting. But Sidney Brown's, I think he's going to be a little bit of a hybrid. You can use Sidney Brown in the slot. You can have him be a safety. I think you can obviously use him a little bit as a linebacker. Like just be really, really creative. I'd love to see Vic Fangio do that. But 3 safeties. You can never have enough good safeties. And I think when you look at Cam Kitchens, I think he's got to have height, weight, speed. He can tackle. He can cover. He can play center field. Can make plays on the ball. Can get interceptions. And I think that as much as I like Reed Blankenship, much as we like Sidney Brown, I think Cam Kitchens is still like a different plateau of a ceiling up there. So I like the value more so. I don't necessarily think Philly has to go safety early. I do like the safeties we have in the building. But I think the value there and what he could bring to that room of already guys that I don't want to replace necessarily, I think that's really nice. Now, 53. I'll make this pick just because I know every Eagle fan wants me to. But I think it's for me, I don't know who I like the most out of these 3 linebackers. Between Trotter, Cooper, and Peyton Wilson. I think I personally, in terms of what I've watched, I think I like Peyton Wilson the most. But he has injury concerns, right? So, Trotter Jr., I got to see how well he tests. I think Trotter Jr., I think he might surprise like Nakobe Dean did in terms of like testing. Nakobe Dean like avoided testing, undersized, wasn't as good as an athlete as we thought, but this massive reputation coming from college football. And I think Philadelphia still seeks highly of Nakobe Dean. I think there's planning on Nakobe Dean still to be a starter. I think they're still penciling in. Like if Howie Roseman has his big board of what the depth chart's going to look like next year, I think they still have Nakobe Dean as linebacker 1 on this roster. So if that's how they truly view it, I don't know how many, like right now, you could just go Peyton Wilson. Get 2 linebackers here, 53-97. We need a lot more depth at linebacker. But in terms of who the top dog is going to be, I have no read as far as how he's going to test. Because if Jeremiah Trotter Jr., I think he's going to be slightly undersized. And if he does not test well, which I think there's a chance, it's one of those misleading takes when you watch him play at Clemson. He could run 4 low 4.5s and be like, yeah, all right, that passes the tech. That he's going to go 2nd, 3rd round, somewhere in that range. He could run like a 4.67 and be like, ooh, okay, he's going to fall over. He might be 3rd, 4th round. I don't have a true read there, but obviously a legacy player for the Philadelphia Eagles would be an instant hit. I'd probably get his jersey right away. But with the switch to a 3-4, Philly absolutely is going to have to prioritize adding some linebackers here. And I'm going to be honest, I'm going to see what's here at 97. I might double dip at linebacker. I think Peyton Wilson, 6'4", in terms of play style, a little bit of Jack Campbell, who went in the first round of Iowa. He's my highest grade linebacker last year, my highest grade linebacker the last couple years. And that aged well because not many people had him going in the first round, but I did. And everyone still shit on it when the Lions made it. I don't know. I think he's been solid this year for the Detroit Lions. Peyton Wilson kind of reminds me of his game a little bit, but the injury concerns. He has the red flags as far as that is concerned. But we'll see who else is available here at 97. At corner, I like Saintsville, but we just don't need nickel. Max Melton could be interesting depending on how well he tests. I believe he was mentioned on the Bruce Feldman's Freaks list. What do you got at edge? Solomon, big-time production. Murphy, he was like a North Texas transfer to UCLA, I think. D-line, you got Mason Smith still available. That's a big-time dog. We're going to need to add some depth. I think Fisk from Florida State, 3-4 defensive end. Baller, man. Very, very, that kind of reminds me of Justin Smith a little bit. Van Pran still at center if we want to go with the whole maybe Juergen stays outside at guard. I don't think we have to go wide receiver right now because Brock Bowers is going to fill that role. What do we have at running back? Oh, the running backs got depleted. I think Will Shipley, I like Will Shipley a lot. Obviously, 5-star recruit, was a top running back recruit when he came out of high school. Has been good at Clemson. Kind of like Kenny Gainwell, I think. Like in terms of role, might not be what Philadelphia wants to look to add to the running back room. I don't know how well he's going to test. I'd like to pick Mason Smith, Will Shipley, Peyton Wilson. I think a sleeper linebacker could be Trevin Wallace. He was very high on the Feldman's Freak list. I think he's a guy right now that could shoot up draft boards based how he tests. But I mean, this is my mock draft. So if it's my mock draft, I'm going to go with the linebackers I like. And I really do like Peyton Wilson out of all the players that are available right now. And I think we can get value at running back a little bit later on. Gives us Trotter, Peyton Wilson, Nakobe Dean at linebacker. I don't think we're going to re-sign. I wouldn't hate bringing back Zach Cunningham. I think he's solid enough. But I think for Philadelphia, it's going to be paramount here to get some strength at the priorities for a Vic Fangio defense. Safeties and linebackers. Do we have that right now on the roster? No. Are we going to spend and change our philosophy, spending in linebackers and free agency? Probably not. There are some interesting names. If we get Mike Caldwell, is rumored to be linebacker coach. He has ties to Levante David, who's going to be a free agent. I'd love that on a rental. If we get, Vic Fangio, Andrew Van Ginkel, Jerome Baker, both from the Dolphins, they're both set to be free agents. So I think I don't know. I have no idea how Philly is going to address linebacker because we've never had to do it before. It's not a position that it's ever like you got a lot of trends for Howie Roseman to kind of project what they're going to do. It's an absolute crapshoot. So I'm thinking maybe low cost guys in the draft, but prioritize them a little bit more is maybe more likely than spending in free agency. Because they get the values in free agency. We get the Kaiser Whites in free agency. We get the Nigel Bradhams in free agency. These guys that might make it 2-3 weeks once the free agency starts. And we bring them in. Maybe we'll get one of those guys. I don't know. But we'll cover our bases here in this mock and get 2 linebackers that I like. So up next at 159, I think it is now time to start looking elsewhere. And what do we got? Okay. What's the big board saying? Bo Braid, he should test well. A lot of people think he's going to be a big-time athlete out of Maryland, but we don't really need to say. Same with Vaki. Did he actually declare? He was like a mini Travis Hunter. He played running back, played a little bit. You know what? Honestly, at 159, I don't mind Braden Mann, but Torrey Taylor's like an all-time punter right now. So I think I'd get the weapon at punter to start it out. Just a cost-efficient punter. Don't have to pay Braden Mann, any big-time money. I think I wouldn't hate getting a corner late, but it's still early in the process for me to have like the steals that I really like. I remember Omar Brown down here. He played for Northern Iowa and had like ridiculous production there. Then he transferred to Nebraska. I do like him. I don't know if he's declaring. Usually these guys in these mock draft simulators that are this late, they're not actually declaring. As you can tell, we're doing this live. We're gonna figure it out. I mean, ZTF was such a good player before the injuries at Washington. Go to the 3-4. He could be, depth at edge because you could have Hassan Reddick on one side, Nolan Smith on the other. Patrick Johnson, probably going to keep him. Maybe Teron Jackson, Josh Sweat. I'd honestly say at this point, I'd take a gamble on the player that he was. I mean, we're in the day 3 now, and if ZTF can find his find the momentum, get it back going, that could be value. Because at one point he was an absolute dog. At one point he was a first rounder. So the fact that he's still available there, that's pretty nice. We'll go Christian Jones for a developmental offensive tackle at Texas, starter at Texas. Not as good as Kelvin Banks, but still fairly solid. Can we just get Christian McCaffrey's brother to maybe get Christian McCaffrey to get traded to the team? That'd be kind of cool. Should test well as well athletically. No, we will. Let's get Luke McCaffrey. Has some quarterback background, like an athlete. Might get some gadget plays out of it by adding him to the squad. I think the last piece of business for Philly, just trying to pick at a corner here. Man, I wish standing here in this chair, not standing, sitting, I had like this sleeper corner that was in the 400s that I'm like, guys, trust me, this is going to be the absolute dog of all dogs. I mean, I could say Omar Brown if he's actually declared. I'd hate to not get out of this without a corner. But I think with who's available, I think I would go Isaiah Davis to finish it out. South Dakota State, you're going to have Dallas Goedert pound the table. He was big-time production. He's probably going to run like 4-4. Like, this is a guy that just good small school running back. Trust me. He's going to be really, really good. Underrated. A lot of the draft sharks, a lot of guys on the inside, a lot of guys on the no are starting to gas up. Like, he'll be a riser in these mock draft simulators, I think, before long. But there we go. There's a little Philadelphia Eagle 7-round mock draft with a ridiculous roll starting with Brock Bowers. I think Brock Bowers to Philadelphia, I think that would be my ultimate wild card for the first round. You have the typical tropes of Howie Roseman building the trenches, be it an offensive tackle or someone on a D-line, assuming that we go to the 3-4 with Vic Fangio. We're not going to get a linebacker. I'd be surprised if we get a corner, depending on how the board falls. So it's just like, where would the wild card? I think it would be Brock Bowers. Georgia Bulldog. We have soft spot for drafting Bulldogs. You could play him at slot when Goddard's healthy. He could cover for Dallas Goedert when he's not healthy. By the time Dallas Goedert's contract runs out, like it's going to be perfect. Because by the time you got to pay Brock Bowers, that's going to be time that, the expiry date on Dallas Goedert's going to be run up a little bit. Then we get a nice baller at safety, big fan favorite, I think, for the fans. Long term, him, Reed, Blankenship, and Sidney Brown, dogs. We get a fan favorite in Trotter. I get one of my favorite linebackers, maybe my linebacker one right now as far as tape, but still understanding he has red flags due to injury. We get maybe the best college punter of all time. We get a guy that was not too long ago, obviously injuries are the reason why he's fallen, but not too long ago was considered a first-round edge rusher. You get him late, just see what he got. You get Christian Jones to see if he can develop as a tackle. You get a great athlete in Luke McCaffrey, can give you some gadget plays, compete in the slot, bring some. I think he's like 6'3", can give you some red zone as well. Maybe a little bit of like what we thought Julio Jones would do for the wide receiver room. And then we just do what Howie Roseman does, and that is not value running backs and just trust that the offensive line is going to be good enough. So we get a guy that has put up big-time numbers at a lower level in Isaiah Davis. So I'd love to hear what you guys think about this mock draft. Again, apologies. The plan was to drop a Chargers, Jim Harbaugh, realistic rebuild. I'm going to record it again. I'm going to re-record it. Hopefully a better result. Spoiler, I didn't win the Super Bowl. But it was a fun rebuild that I'm very frustrated. Couldn't get out to you guys, but I'm trying to salvage this because my kid wants to go play road hockey. I said, just give me a second. I'm going to do a mock. And this is actually a hell of a mock because I got Brock Bowers. That's pretty cool. So thank you guys very much for watching. As always, first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Let me know, Eagle fans in particular, do you like this mock draft? Smash or pass? And until next time, I will see you back here on the weekend for a Chargers rebuild. And until then, it's your boy C4 saying peace out. Love ya. Have a good one.